Damian Lillard calls for Raiders to trade for Shedeur Sanders. After Geno Smith's collapse, it's time to get Shedeur. The Las Vegas Raiders thought they had their quarterback problem solved when Tom Brady, the team's part owner and NFL legend, vouched for Geno Smith. With Brady's endorsement, the Raiders made the bold move to bring Smith aboard, hoping his veteran leadership could stabilize a team desperate for direction. But 5 weeks into the season, those hopes are evaporating faster than the Vegas lights after midnight. Following an embarrassing 46 blowout loss to the Indianapolis Colts, the Raiders have stumbled to a 1-4 record, sinking to the bottom of the AFC West. The offense looks lifeless, turnovers have piled up, and the once promising experiment has quickly turned into a full-blown crisis. And now, out of nowhere, NBA superstar Damian Lillard has entered the conversation, and he's not holding back. Lillard steps into the NFL conversation. Damian Lillard, known for his sharp shooting and sharper opinions, took to X, formerly Twitter, after the Raiders' latest collapse. When a user mentioned Geno Smith, Lillard responded with a surprising mix of defense and suggestion. He, Geno Smith, not washed. He just turning the ball over. But it's time to get Shedeur Sanders on the team and get ready for the future. It was a message that spread like wildfire. The NBA All-Star wasn't just defending a struggling veteran. He was lobbying for the Raiders to trade for Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, the son of NFL legend and Colorado head coach Deion Coach Prime Sanders. For many fans, the idea of Shedeur Sanders in a Raiders uniform sounded bold, even unrealistic. But for others, it felt like exactly the kind of spark this franchise needs. The Geno Smith experiment, Brady's gamble, backfires. When the Raiders traded for Geno Smith in the offseason, the move raised eyebrows across the league. Smith, fresh off a resurgence in Seattle, was seen as a capable stopgap rather than a franchise savior. But Brady, who joined the Raiders ownership group earlier this year, personally vouched for him, believing his experience could elevate the offense. So far, it hasn't. Smith's start in Las Vegas has been nothing short of disastrous. In just 5 games, he's thrown 9 interceptions, with 7 of those turnovers directly leading to 35 opponent points. It's one of the worst 5-game starts by a Raiders quarterback since 1970, tying him with Josh McCown and Kerry Collins for most interceptions through that stretch. The 35-year-old's struggles have reignited painful memories of recent failed quarterback experiments. Jimmy Garoppolo, Gardner Minshew, and Aiden O'Connell, all of whom briefly held the same promise before fading into disappointment. "We're here to win," Smith said at his introductory press conference. But as the losses pile up, his confidence and the team's faith are wearing thin. Injuries, inconsistency, and a crumbling offense. To be fair, Geno hasn't had much help. The Raiders' offensive line has been inconsistent, and key playmakers like Brock Bowers have been dealing with injuries. Still, for a franchise that's seen so many quarterbacks come and go, patience is running low. Offensive production has cratered. Drives stall before midfield, and Smith's decision-making under pressure has been erratic. The offense looks out of rhythm, lacking both confidence and creativity. It's no surprise, then, that fans, and now Damian Lillard, are calling for drastic change. Enter Shedeur Sanders, the rookie. Waiting for his moment. Name on everyone's lips, Shedeur Sanders is more than just a social media trend. The Cleveland Browns rookie was one of the most talked-about prospects entering the 2025 NFL Draft. Once projected as a first-round pick, Sanders shockingly slid all the way to the 5th round, where Cleveland scooped him up. It was a stunning fall that many analysts blamed on concerns over experience and system fit, not talent. Now sitting 3rd on the Browns' depth chart behind veteran Joe Flacco and rookie Dillon Gabriel, Sanders is patiently waiting for his turn. In college, Sanders was electric. At Colorado, he completed 74% of his passes, throwing for 4,034 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions in his final season. He left as the FBS leader in career completion percentage, 71.8%, proving his accuracy and poise under pressure. But it wasn't all highlight reels and headlines. Sanders also endured relentless defensive pressure, being sacked 94 times over his last 2 seasons. Those experiences hardened him, forcing him to develop mental toughness and on-field awareness beyond his years. Cleveland's quarterback conundrum. The Browns' quarterback room has been a revolving door since training camp. When head coach Kevin Stefanski decided to bench Joe Flacco and promote Dillon Gabriel to starter, many expected Shedeur to move up to QB2. That didn't happen. He remains the third-string quarterback, still learning, still waiting. Yet behind the scenes, reports suggest that the Browns plan to give Sanders his shot later in the season, once the team installs a playbook built specifically around his skill set. For now, Shedeur's focus remains on growth. In a recent interview with ESPN, he said, "It's fun going out there and competing every day. I'm thankful for my situation. I'm thankful I'm able to see the ball in a different light and to be able to get a different perspective than I have. I'm able to grow mentally, physically, emotionally, everything, to become my best self." It's the kind of maturity that has impressed coaches and teammates alike. Why Lillard thinks the Raiders should take the risk. For Damian Lillard, this isn't about replacing one quarterback with another. It's about investing in the future. The Raiders have tried veterans, journeymen, and patchwork solutions for years. None have worked. What they lack is a long-term vision at quarterback, someone young, dynamic, and capable of commanding a huddle. And that's exactly what Lillard sees in Shedeur Sanders. Sanders' combination of accuracy, leadership, and composure could inject life into a stagnant Raiders offense. He's used to the spotlight. After all, he's the son of one of the most charismatic figures in football. More importantly, he's used to pressure, both literal and metaphorical. If the Raiders were to pull off such a trade, it could reshape their identity. Instead of another season wasted on short-term fixes, they'd be betting on a quarterback who represents both youth and upside, a cornerstone for the future. Geno's decline and the weight of expectations for Geno Smith, this season feels like a cruel twist in what was supposed to be a redemption story. After reviving his career in Seattle, he arrived in Las Vegas as a veteran leader with something to prove. But instead of proving doubters wrong, he's become a lightning rod for criticism. Even Smith's former coach, Pete Carroll, admitted his surprise at Geno's regression. "I'm processing it poorly, to tell you the truth, because I did expect to win right out of the chutes." The sentiment echoes throughout Raider Nation: confusion, frustration, and disappointment. The team expected steady leadership, not a turnover machine. Now, with Brady's reputation tied to the move, the pressure to find answers is even greater. Could a trade really happen? A trade for Shedeur Sanders would be unconventional, but not impossible. The Browns currently have depth at quarterback, and if Sanders grows restless with his limited role, Cleveland might be open to dealing him for draft capital or defensive help. For the Raiders, the risk would be worth the reward. Sanders could sit behind Geno for a few weeks, learn the system, and potentially step in once the season inevitably slips out of playoff reach. It wouldn't just be a move for 2025, it would be an investment in the next decade. The future beckons as the Raiders stare down another lost season. Their options are dwindling. Geno Smith's struggles have made it clear that the team needs a new direction. Damian Lillard's call for Shedeur Sanders might sound like wishful thinking, but in the unpredictable world of the NFL, stranger things have happened. After all, every franchise needs a spark, a player who can ignite belief, restore energy, and give fans a reason to hope again. For Las Vegas, maybe that spark isn't another veteran retread or another stopgap. Maybe it's a young quarterback who grew up under the brightest spotlight imaginable, one who's been waiting patiently for his chance to prove that greatness runs in his blood. And maybe, just maybe, Damian Lillard is right. Final word, the Raiders' season is spiraling. Their offense is broken and their future remains uncertain. Geno Smith may not be washed, as Lillard insists, but he's clearly not the answer. If Las Vegas wants to build something real, something sustainable, it might be time to listen to a voice outside the locker room. Because when one of the most respected athletes in sports says, "It's time to get Shedeur," perhaps it's worth paying attention.